I thought today we'd talk about number one, notice we have sunshine. Hasn't been a whole lot of that lately. On the 45th parallel in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula in Michigan is where I live. In a town that was settled, I'm reading here on a tablet, in 1868. It was originally a lumbering town. White pines were very, very plentiful, and hardwoods also. So the lumbering industry is what brought many people from southern Michigan north. And my great grandfather was, in fact, one of the original lumbermen in northern Michigan, up actually in Sheboygan. And he used to tell us stories about being a, quote, lumberjack, unquote. The other part is farming. Brought people north. As the cities south of us were getting more and more crowded and there wasn't a lot of infrastructure, people came north to farm. Now, the thing is, farming wasn't so great in our county because it's very sandy soil. So the number one farming crop in the county where I live is potatoes. And Lay's has a farm that is designated as being a potato chip farm for potatoes for their potato chips. I was pretty excited when that happened. Small town doesn't take much to get excited. So our town is known for tourism, and it always has. Part of the thing is that we were known for skiing. There were small ski clubs. Eventually, golfing became part of the culture in modern days. But in the 60s, they were looking at ways to attract people to northern Michigan. So they came up with this plan. And I actually talked to one of the originators of this idea a few years ago before he passed. And in 1965, they decided that Alpenfest would be a way to draw people north. And we're like, Alpine? Well, skiing. So we had a sister city appointed, Pontresina, Switzerland. All of the downtown had the original 1800s buildings. They're brick, and that very old feel was there, but they thought it didn't look very alpine. So they put facades on all of those old buildings downtown. Some put stucco and they painted them white. They had the beams to make them look like Switzerland. Everyone wears dirndls and men wear lederhosen. They play music. They also kind of blend the fact that this is a Polish community by history. A lot of people came up north for farming, and so there's polkas at everything here and beer tents. So it was a really big deal in the 60s, and it started bringing people north. And then when I was growing up in the 80s is when I moved to this town. Everybody had the Swiss theme. Commercial buildings all in the downtown area had to comply with that. New buildings put in this town, including McDonald's and Burger King, they all had a Swiss Alpine theme. Yeah, you'd go into Burger King and it would be all Swiss. It just was kind of weird because it's like we are a northern Michigan town, but it was very important. And then even later, one of the larger independent grocers put a glockenspiel on the front of the grocery store. So this has been going since the 60s. And then, what happened is it got very expensive to keep those facades up, and more commercial businesses, big box stores like Walmart and Kmart came to town in the 80s and 90s, and they hesitated on doing the Swiss theme. They kind of haphazardly did it. And over time, some of the new businesses absolutely refused to do it. And they moved further and further away from the downtown area, and they're actually by the on and off ramp of I-75, which divides this town kind of in half. So I live and work and do most of my living in and near the downtown area. it hasn't aged well. The Alpenfest is still going, and everybody still dons on their lederhosen and little crowns that are called Blumenkrantz, and everybody is Swiss for a day and drinks a lot of beer, and they have a big carnival and a circus, a fair, carnival rides and some crafters and entertainment, and it's all free. It's just a small town, festival to get people to come and then maybe go golfing and spend money and find time to be entertained. They used to get really big names on the stage. We've had to scale back because of expense. I've never served on the Alpenfest board, but my mom did. And my parents were big supporters of Alpenfest because when you live near the downtown area, you either jump in with both feet and you participate, or you leave town because there's so many people. They would drive up in our driveway, park all over the place. People, there's stories of people going into people's residential homes looking for bathrooms, things like that. All the things of having great success. It's been a very successful festival. But the downtown area got kind of shabby looking over the last few years. Those facades really take a lot to keep up. Some people that stuccoed their buildings, they had to spend a lot of money. In the 60s, they even built a really big clock tower on the downtown bank and put copper on it, and it's now not white, and they have terrible color choices. And what's really sad is everywhere else in Michigan revitalized their downtown areas and restored those buildings to their original glory. Some of ours, you can still see the original brick buildings, and a couple of them actually had painted advertisements that I always thought was real cool. But now the Alpine theme has scaled back. People don't build as many chalets and A-frames and don't incorporate Alpine theme in their architecture or decor as much, except for the 2 blocks in the old downtown area. They built a new courthouse with an Alpine theme. You'll see that there is a big pavilion next to the courthouse, and we'll take a little ride, and I'll show you on this bright, sunny, beautiful, cold day of December what the Alpine Village looks like. And the controversy is I kind of wish they didn't put those facades on. That's the controversial statement. As a person who has lived here and grown up here, I kind of wish they would have left the buildings in their original glory. And I don't know if some of those facades could ever be taken off. It doesn't matter that if you're a business downtown, you have to maintain it. But it would be so cute if they had the original fronts and the brick were restored, all that. But they didn't. And so to do a downtown revitalization that we got, as most Michigan little towns did in the last few years, they added a fountain in front of our Alpine themed courthouse, updated to brick paver sidewalks, and put some gas lights in their standardized signage. It's still quaint and beautiful, but the Alpine theme, I think, is kind of getting old and tired. And we're really not a village of Alpine Swiss people. So I've always thought it was a tourist thing and was kind of odd. But, that's our town. So if you ever are in northern Michigan, stop in the summer in July for Alpenfest, or if you come in the winter, there's a lot of snowmobiling and skiing, and there's golfing in the summer. So we'll take a little tour of downtown Gaylord, Michigan.